Welcome back to the Free Play Arcade Podcast. It is part 2 of our wrap-up of the Billy Mitchell at Retropalooza and Free Play Arlington.
Our weekend with Billy, yes.
Weekend with Billy.
So we can jump right into it. If you haven't watched part 1, there's a link somewhere on this.
Yeah, check our video section. You can catch up on part 1. You can catch up on the preseason where we talk about our thoughts on his various scoring accomplishments before. Or any number of really sweetly produced Game of the Weeks.
And of course, if you want to get the new stuff, click that subscribe button, the bell icon, whatever that is. Make sure you...
That's where you get Taco Bell sent directly to your computer chair.
Oh, and no. You know what I hate? Bell. No one likes Taco Bell but me anymore, it feels like. I feel like occasionally there's a good place for it, but I never get it anymore. Definitely not in my house. My kids don't even eat it. My wife doesn't eat it. It's just for me. So anyways, Retropalooza. I'm Corey. You're Chris. You're Arthur.
What's up?
We all work at Free Play. We all got kind of shockingly introduced into a Billy Mitchell streaming situation through like a kind of crazy sequence of events. And as we were talking about last time, Billy Mitchell came to Retropalooza, and he's about to go for a PacMan kill screen. Potentially perfect pack he was talking about. He just lost all his progress by walking away after he thought he had captured the ghosts and hidden from them, which is possible on a regular slow pack. But he came back, his game was lost. He yells at Arthur for like half an hour.
Not quite that long, but not an insubstantial amount of time.
He gets all grumpy, but
passive-aggressive.
But it does seem like... one of the things Billy Mitchell was good at, it was kind of like being short, being kind of, harsh, and just moving on. So like I almost wonder if it was this kind of like a personality quirk.
I think a lot of it is his personality quirk, because the one thing I've noticed listening to him over many conventions, and also having talked to him in person for a while, is he doesn't really like other people having control of his narrative, which is weird because like that back and forth of him being obstinate, and then podcasts like ours talking about it, like it is what everything is built on, and yet he still just has a problem with other people speaking about him.
Right. Well, yeah, and I think that this was, not only is this kind of well known about Billy Mitchell, clear in King of Kong, he really does want to be the person who says what he is.
Yes. Yes.
Whether or not that's true, or it is true, it could be true, it might not be true, but he wants to be the one who says it.
Yes, and he has an odd verbal tick that I've picked up on, which is he likes to work off of a partner. So he had Ben Gold on stage. He likes to ask that person a question, and then regardless of what the answer is, he wants to say, "Nope, you're wrong. This is it." And it doesn't matter if it was actually if it was truth or not. In my case, I got caught up with that and had a giggle when he asked, "Who is this person next to me?" Of course, I know who Ben Gold is. I'm the reason he's there.
Right.
And after knowing what he answered who Ben Gold was, I raised my hand, and knowing who my audience was, which was Ben Gold and Billy Mitchell, he said, "So what is he famous for?" And I said, "That is the man who was off to the right of Billy Mitchell in that famous time." And he said, "Wrong." And then 45 seconds later, and he goes, "Also, he was the guy next to me in that time thing."
That's a pretty funny answer, given who you were talking to. All right, so Billy finally. So I guess this is probably 2 o'clock. We're talking about 2 o'clock on the Saturday.
It was past 1:30 once we got running again for the second
All right,
time.
so he hops into it.
But this time we get to have our art on there. You may have seen Billy's stream, which was kind of hacked together literally by Arthur before, but we have a pre-produced package which we will be uploading to this channel.
It'll likely be out by the time you're watching this video, so maybe
there you
the
go.
link is
so you can see it in our video section now, but cool animated background. Josh Featherstone did his
Josh is amazing.
Incredible work as always. So we had our full commentary there. We're ready to go, and we actually hit start for real and had start on the broadcast for real.
So he's playing. And this is actually some interesting kind of side notes. I was contacted by 2 or 3 people during his stream asking if we were running it. And I had to be like, no, that's not our channel or anything. That's his channel. Because apparently they were silenced or put on mute, or I don't actually know how Twitch works. But apparently they asked if this was Free Play's cabinet, and it was people that go to Free Play, and they were like, "Is this the Free Play cabinet?" And that alone was enough to get them muted. I think because there were other people that got muted because they would say, "Is this a real PacMan, how do we know that this is real? So, those kinds of questions alone were enough to get you muted on his chat.
That's some heavy moderation. One thing that I noticed every time I was looking at the numbers, I'll get back to that on Donkey Kong. Never mind.
Okay.
Because we weren't live yet. So.
Right. I think I know what you're going to talk about. So, yeah, what was also interesting is like Billy Mitchell's channel, small. Had probably the time that I was there, it had like 40 people watching, 35, which is fine for a retro game stream. But Billy Mitchell is Billy Mitchell.
Yeah, most famous retro player in the world.
I wish Billy's son was with us at that stream.
Right. Yeah, that probably would have been a lot of fun.
I feel like Billy himself, he's new to the streaming game. Right.
Well, he has no idea.
He has no idea. He's just trying to do what his son's trying to like. Set him up, and everybody has the best intentions of making sure that Billy gets his broadcast across and his brand across in the best way possible. And I feel like we all wanted the same thing,
right?
But it was really hard to communicate that to him because he doesn't know understand the nuance. Understandably, he has to play Donkey Kong and PacMan at an all-world level 30 years in. Right. I wouldn't want him to be that person.
Well, yeah.
But if his son is, then I would have loved to have had the opportunity to work it out and say, look, we have all this equipment. We have all this artwork right here. We have an open microphone for you to sit in on and make sure that what is said is what you want to be said. But it's going to look a heck of a lot better if you just restream our stream on your channel. And then we'll even loop in your chat so that you can mute all the people who say dirty words like, is this a free play arcade cabinet? Right? And then just respond to them. That works too, but like we couldn't get on the same page in that way.
Yeah. Well, and this is something I learned definitely this weekend about Billy Mitchell. He is his team, right? He doesn't have he doesn't have a manager, a producer. He doesn't have, he has his wife and apparently his son who helped him with his streaming.
This was his wife's first time to see him do some of these.
Well, that was actually something I thought might be part of his redemption tour. Because she seems so supportive and just kind of loving toward him.
She is.
It was like a beautiful, every time I saw her coming into frame, I felt better about Billy Mitchell because it seemed like she was there to just make sure he was doing okay, make sure everything was fine. And
shout outs to Evelyn. She was great and super nice and always helpful.
Well, and I just thought that was really cool because obviously that's the side of Billy Mitchell I've never seen.
She may have been the one that played his game though. Whenever we were off of she was the one left in charge. We'll watch over this.
She's the one who gets thrown. It was probably some kid at Retropalooza walking up and being like,
"See, that's the thing." And they tried throwing sheets and stuff over it and blocking it off with chairs. And having worked at Free Play as long as I have, I know that's not going to stop anybody. Oh, yeah, they're going to be there. They're going to have their beer. You're going to be like, "How'd they get a beer in here?" And they're going to pour it right down the middle of it.
We've got games in locked rooms at Free Play right now that people try to play last Friday. Yes. So people are just magicians at getting to places they're not supposed to be. Mm-hmm. I saw that about with his wife there, and I thought it actually made me like Billy Mitchell more just because it made him a lot more relatable. It made him seem like a real person. And I thought maybe that thinking about Billy Mitchell, I thought maybe that might even be calculated, but it seemed later that it was good for him. It really seemed like it was good for him to have someone in his corner.
I think so, yeah.
That was just Team Billy more than anything else. Because, of course, at this point...
he would trust implicitly
right.
Also. Because you can go in with all the intent of being Team Billy, but he doesn't know you.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. He's clearly a great gamer. We're going to get to watching him play. But, that's definitely an intimidating situation, and you want someone that you can express your frustrations to, especially when you're playing a frustrating video game like Donkey Kong or PacMan. Those games are not designed to be easy or designed to be fair. PacMan's fair, but it doesn't really have any random stuff going on. Donkey Kong, not fair. You need support for Donkey Kong because Donkey Kong is just always going to try to wreck your life. So I thought that was really cool. But yeah, that was what I learned was that he has his son, I guess, trying to help with him with his stream in the background and his wife there. But that's pretty much, that's Team Billy. And it made me think about how potentially a lot of this might not have ever happened if he had just one person that he could trust that was in the know about all of this stuff.
Right.
To guide. I'm talking about way back to the emulation stuff to his current, because obviously you can't trust a lawyer if you're thinking about whether or not you're going to sue someone because the lawyer's cool, I'll take some money. Let's send him a demand letter, that kind of stuff. That was not the style of lawyer I was, but
we had a good we could talk plenty about Ben Gold as well, but we had one of his old 80s running mates, right, to talk with, and in the events of King of Kong, when everything kind of went haywire, they're running basically an old '80s band. They're traveling the country,
Right.
Early '80s, no media, but like the media doesn't even understand what they're seeing.
Right.
So none of those guys are that tech savvy. A lot of them got out of the game. Ben Gold himself stopped playing in like '84, '85. Walter Day was the patriarch of this.
Right.
How old is Walter now? Like, I
Walter,
really don't expect him to be Facebook savvy, and yeah, it's they weren't ready for it even 10 years ago what they were encountering.
Well, now, yeah, of course we have 24/7 connected world, Twitch stream, constant stuff, and we have a lot of people that kind of expect to see a lot of parts that certainly like Billy Mitchell's not used to showing. Like, I mean, like whole aspects of his game, practice, transparency that he obviously didn't think would ever be kind of
right, and they'll bust you on it 20 years later. They'll find it. It doesn't matter.
Right. So, so that was really just kind of a cool side note. So he starts running on Pac. How was it going?
Well, it was going well enough. He was getting all the ghosts. He was playing what was going towards a perfect game. Everyone was commentating, having a pretty good time, but every so often he would stop and sign an autograph and pose for a photo.
So like his plan was
some kids.
I think I saw this from the because I was watching the stream. I definitely saw him sign autographs on the stream. So his plan would be he would trap the ghost, right? Go to his corner and then sign the autographs.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a few safe spots in PacMan. So yeah, whenever someone would come up to get an autograph, or there would be a line form, he would go, put the perfect part of the stage out of question, park it, and then sign his autograph right there while they're all parked and he's in no danger. Which actually made PacMan the perfect game to do at that venue.
Well, yeah, that's really cool too, because like I would
the
feel
right call
better
was made.
If I wanted a Billy Mitchell autograph, I'd feel so cool about doing it while he's making an awesome Pac run.
Yes,
exactly. It looked fantastic, and in fact, it looked better because there was no live video feed. Because he put that picture right on top of the screen and he autographed it and he put 9 dots to rub it in that poor Canadian's face that he was 9 dots better on the perfect game, and then passed off the autograph, said hi, did the next autograph, and then continued with Pac-Man. It looked fantastic.
And he'd high five everyone and he'd chit chat a little bit with the the fans.
And that's the thing. I thought, I didn't get any of the background because I wasn't at the event, so I didn't see the behind the scenes stuff. But watching him interact with fans, he seemed like he was doing a good job. Like he seemed like he was having a good time and being personable and stuff like that. And also during the stream, the comments he made generally seemed like he was trying to be helpful. Like it seemed like he wasn't trying to hide his strategies anymore or anything. It seemed like he was just kind of like, this is what I'm doing and that's why I'm doing it. Okay,
he was really good about talking about what he was doing, explaining why.
Right.
And
I thought that seemed cool because I haven't watched all that much Billy besides King of Kong, a couple different runs, and I certainly haven't seen him kind of interacting with the world as much. But I thought it was really neat to see him at least trying to give some guidance to what he was doing and how other people might be able to do it.
I think he needs to. A lot of times he's encountering people who don't understand what he's doing,
right.
So he needs to develop that. Or he has over the course of years, because if he's doing all these different movements and people don't understand, they just say, well, yeah, you're just beating an easy game, right? Like right. They're confused about it. So he has each point bullet pointed out to where he can explain how each of the turns work, basically.
Now, in watching him play Pac-Man, it's very clear to me that he has played a lot of Pac-Man.
Yes,
he knows that game pretty well.
I want to say I was surprised by something, even impressed, is that he did not use patterns up until the final key stage.
Yeah.
So
17.
And he may have used patterns.
24?
I didn't watch him in every single one of those stages. There's multiple different patterns as you progress through the different AI levels that are optimal to use for Pac-Man.
Right.
The penultimate level, though, which repeats 3 times, I believe, where it's at its hardest, but you're not running that same cycle over and over again. He would actually clear out a certain path. Now he had a clear strategy to clear out a certain amount of dots and collect a certain number dot at a certain time so that he would collect the fruit every time. Right. So he clearly had a worked out strategy ahead of time, but he's just going through the level again and again, grouping the ghosts by himself without a pattern and then collecting them and going.
Well,
doing it that way.
yeah, I think to me, it was almost like he knows Pac-Man so well that he knows every possible combination and can just like rotate it up, change it up. Because like there were times that it's like it seems like he's freestyling, but it's perfect freestyling. So it's like
he has supreme knowledge of the computer AI.
So yeah, and it was actually kind of fun to watch.
Yes. I like freehanding games much better than I like watching patterns.
Oh,
being
it's
run.
much more interesting.
Yeah.
Well, and just basically seeing him, because he before this event, right, at a different location, he did a perfect pack run on a known real pack. So because he was always, I think it seemed, and this is all just kind of going on conjecture and different reports, he seemed extra hurt by the not getting credit for that perfect pack anymore. He seemed extra upset over that because
he was the first one to ever do that, correct?
Reportedly,
yes.
Well, the first known.
Well, that's the thing. The timelines in the 80s and 90s about these pack scores get really murky. And people have criticized, have accused him of not that he couldn't do a perfect pack, of rewriting history a little bit about when it was done and letting other people know that he had done it, that kind of stuff. More kind of Twin Galaxies games, I think. And I don't know the full story. I don't think anyone knows the full story, but he has definitely received some flack for that. But having watched him on this stream play Pac-Man, I know for sure he can play a perfect pack game.
Oh, certainly.
And
he was very close this time.
Well, that was so. Let's go ahead. He gets through. I heard Ben Gold talking. He missed a ghost.
He misses one ghost. That's 1,600 points, and twice he had to. Both of these deaths, I feel, wouldn't have happened if it had been any other time. But both of his deaths occurred when he had to stop and not do the recital pattern and sign some autographs and then come back, and
he'd be kind of out of his spot, right?
Yes.
And the first thing that happened was he missed the one ghost, so I think it put the perfect game off the table, which changed his perspective on it. So he wasn't grinding quite as hard to just get a perfect game because it wasn't possible.
At that point, all he wants to do is kill screen it, right?
Right. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't want to die at any point, but and even did he intentionally? Because he threatened to intentionally go into chaos mode. During the final board. I know he did a few times, but I don't know if he intentionally did.
I think that he may have messed up at some point. I mean, there's 56 levels, and over the course of, and you do that last one how many times? Like 200 plus.
Right.
And over the course of 200 plus iterations of doing something, I'm going to make a mistake. So
I have no interest in playing that.
No, you know what?
I did it one time in my life. My top score on PacMan is over 600,000.
Yeah, it's good.
Thank you. It's repeating that last stage again and again and again and again and again until you're blue in the face, and then continuing, hours after that, and you just. Ugh.
Yeah. Well, it was really, really cool though, because of course he did get to the kill screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I have never done that.
Watching that live, because I've never watched anyone live do it. I've seen what the kill screen looks like. I've watched videos, but watching that live was exciting. As everyone was like, it's about to happen. We're two away, and then we're one away, and he's just like, here we go, and he gets there. And there it is. He's at the kill screen on Pac-Man. We know it's a real Pac-Man. And when he got there, I was, of course, like relieved as the owner of the game and the operator, because I was like, all right, the game made it that long. The controls worked long enough. Everything that needed to happen on our end had happened. We have a kill screen. And then he did something that I wasn't quite expecting. He went into the deep, detailed strategy of the kill screen. And I have looked at there are other people who've spoken about it, but I have never seen the level of detail that he gave on that kill screen. So I think that this pack video is going to be important for other people who want to try to do the perfect pack and all that stuff, because he has extreme detail. He sets it all up, he goes through it, and then he lets everyone else just come play on the kill screen.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, he trapped the four ghosts on the right side of the screen.
So they're just going vertically or one way. And yeah, I saw that. And then he was just like, hey, come explore the kill screen.
Right.
And so, yeah, I mean, like everyone around there got to go explore the kill screen on Pac-Man, which, to be honest, like I'm never going to get to that point. I don't care that much. Like I will never go through all the work that it takes to get there, which is a lot of work.
Oh, yes.
And not only is it like, I mean, and at this point for Billy Mitchell, it's like second nature. I'm having watched that, I'm of the opinion that Billy Mitchell can do perfect pack like in all sorts of weird situations. We could put him underwater and he'll do it.
I'm sure, yeah.
Like in a scuba tank or something.
We were talking about it during the broadcast, and I mentioned it to Billy. I'm sure he could get to a point where he could do it blindfolded.
Yeah, I bet he could.
At least that last stage for long periods of time.
But at that point, because I've never met Billy Mitchell, I've never really seen him play live or anything like that. At that point, once you got to the kill screen, I felt like, wow, that was good. That was something that that makes me like Billy Mitchell more, because I own that game. I know it's real. And he just did it. He just put up a near perfect game, kill screen Pac-Man, and then at the end he's just like, hey, everyone, come hang out, let's play Pac-Man on this kill screen.
Now I have a clarification for as the guy who has to update the high score post. Do I list this because he clearly broke the arcade record?
But it is a 3
Is it the Billy Mitchell record, or is it Billy and Gabby as a co-op game? Because she definitely did play.
I did see Gabby get in on there.
It's going to be a lot of names added to that.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and just make that the retro. No, what I thought was really interesting too.
She didn't actually score a point though.
Was watching Dylan Smith, and there's a photo just after the kill screen of Billy Mitchell doing this, and Dylan Smith in the background looking at the camera all like evil, like he's plotting back there. Dylan Smith, of course, we've got some footage of him on YouTube. One of our best
Pac-Man one of our best coming.
I'm just telling you, I felt like the whole time he was jumping up and down inside because Billy Mitchell didn't get a perfect game, because it just, to me, it seemed like he was like, I'm going to study this game, I'm going to go ahead and do a perfect game.
I think you might have to pay Dylan to do that.
Well,
if you want him to, he can do it.
No, I mean, so what I do know is we've had a few players, and at least one of them who already has a perfect pack who is interested now. So I feel like we can get a perfect pack too. But I definitely thought the way Dylan was looking at it, it would have been cool for it to be a homegrown perfect pack.
Well, there is 1,780 points up for grabs.
Right. Yeah. So that wasn't one of his 79 high scores too, because we had him on the podcast a few weeks ago. And yeah, he has 79 active high scores on the list, but Pac-Man was not one of them.
I don't know. You know what? Watching it made me want to learn Pac a little bit, just more than I know it now.
It's fun learning the patterns. It's fun when you do it the first time and you have that really like close call at the end when everybody goes, oh, that first time.
Yes.
Gets a little boring after the 50th, but yeah, it is kind of cool to manipulate the AI and see there's a close call, and if this ghost just turns to the left, it kills me instantly. I shouldn't head towards it, but it works this way every single time.
Well, watching Billy Mitchell do it, it almost made me think like he's at the level where he can go and just play Pac-Man and relax. Like he can go to play the game and know generally what's going to happen and everything, and just kind of do it. He knows each pattern, but he knows each response to each move.
A true grandmaster.
And I thought
he has Zen feeling when he plays it. Yes.
Well, I thought about games like that I used to play a ton that I got to really high level on, and how I used to be able to go play those games to relax. And I realized I didn't have anything like that at this point. I was like, man, I got a little jealous because there he is just doing it, and he can just do. He knows Pac-Man. Really, really cool. So he kill screens. We get that on his stream. I think generally people were excited to see it. We know it was a real game. And we now have a free play high score from Billy Mitchell.
You can also see it in our video feed.
Yeah, and we're going to be getting that up for his run. So around that time, though, I started messaging, I think both of y'all, and being like, cool, all right, so it's getting late. Because he finishes at like 6:30 or something.
We had our own timetable.
Well, and the convention was closed when he finished, huh?
By over 2 hours.
So our own timetable worked like this. I did some math. This could be a 4.5, 5 hour run. I figured we'd be done with the Pac-Man recording by 6. And that would give me 2 hours to head over to the arcade, get the stream set up for Donkey Kong started at 8. Okay, so it's getting later and later, and I did the math on how long this should take, and it's just taking way longer, it feels like. So I ponder what's going on, and I realize, it's all these camera shots.
Right, he's taking
this
breaks.
Is not going to happen before 5:30 when this convention closes. Are they going to throw us out? So I say to Chris, I think I can get... I think I'm going to ask if we can stay late. And Chris is like, well, Donkey Kong's more important because we're going to stream that.
Right, yeah, no,
this was
based
the part
on our previous podcast,
Right.
I don't know how many times you actually mentioned Pac-Man. It was all about Donkey Kong, and like for my perspective was every moment we spend here playing Pac-Man is a moment where it's more likely that we're not going to get to play Donkey Kong. So.
I agreed with that. That was a scary proposition, but I didn't want to leave this Pac-Man unrecorded or unfinished.
Right. Well, and at that point, once he got a good run in, and especially once it looked like he was going to make it to the kill screen, I was like, we have to finish this because at least we'll have one kill screen in.
Yes.
So because if Donkey Kong doesn't happen, even if Billy Mitchell decides he's done for the day, we'll at least have that done.
Also, Ben Gold is he's got a hard out time because he has a flight in the morning. So I knew if we wanted him to be commentary, which we sought him out specifically to do
wanted him.
commentary,
He was great commentary
on our stream, he wouldn't be available later. So.
Well, yeah, and I guess it's probably a good time to give a really quick shout to Ben Gold. I mean, we've talked about him.
Just go a complete 180 and talk about Ben Gold's experience there because it was pretty sweet.
No, he's a really cool dude.
So Ben
I'd
Gold,
love to hang out with him more.
We call him out of the blue. Once we hear that this is happening.
So he's an old hero of mine because he's on that United States national video game team touring the country in the early 80s. He is from Dallas, Texas.
He's like the Dallas gamer representative.
I'm from Dallas, Texas. Yeah, I look up to this guy. He's the former Q*bert world record holder, although that's not a game that he's hugely fond of. He's also former Stargate world record holder, Millipede, a very good Centipede player, and equally good in Defender as well. So a game. Oh, he appeared on That's Incredible. He traveled the country, blah blah blah, in Time Life. Like a huge star player in the early 80s. Completely dropped off the scene.
Right.
He will occasionally do. I've heard him on the radio representing himself.
Sure.
He tried to get into the auction business. You probably met him back then.
Right.
But really does not play modern games. Does not even play arcade games anymore because, to his knowledge, arcades were dead.
Right.
To his knowledge, classic retro golden age arcades were dead. So he had
dead.
If he wanted to play, he couldn't play. At least that was how he thought. He was not aware that free play was a thing. So I had reached out to him before and talked to him about, basically being the fangirl that I am. But I didn't want to beat him down too much without anything specific. When we actually got him out there, his eyes were as big as saucers.
Yeah, well, I can imagine going from having to live through the 90s as an arcade player and then teleporting to today with free play and looking at free play and being like... Because, I guess that's the thing. Y'all then go to free play after the Retropalooza experience, and he not only sees rooms filled with retro arcade games, all original, looking great, it's filled with people, too.
Yes. Yeah. And that's
the exciting thing.
And we're talking about it on the stream. And, again, you can check this in our video as well. But, we're talking about it, and he is... I mentioned this is really impressive. I don't know if Billy knows what he's getting into because it's going to be a madhouse on Saturday night at Free Play Arlington, and there's a DJ, and it's a party, and all these things which make that an extra challenging run. And he's like, wait, so you do have a real arcade? Yes, it's all real. Yes, and it's packed. Oh, yes. Right. Oh, yes. You're in for a huge revelation. And then when he walked in the door, we went through all the lines. He's like, that game's incredible. That's incredible. That's incredible. Amazing. Lineup. Do you guys have Centipede? Yes, we do. It's the cocktail over there. He started playing. He's like, wow, I can tell that you guys have put in an extra lot of work into this. He's playing great.
What's really great is we didn't know he was going to come and play our Centipede because, that was he got to experience what it normally is. Which I think is extra special because we didn't extra prep it for him. That's just how our Centipede runs.
Yes, and it was really special. I know our videographers were there. So you're setting up. Arthur is setting up the stream.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. Donkey Kong. We'll get back to Ben Gold. Let's go ahead and clean up the timeline. So the
Chris and I
kill
are discussing
screen at PacMan
what to do about PacMan, and we, I guess, eventually agreed try to finish the PacMan run while still trying very hard to convince him to go to the Donkey Kong run and not let that slip through our grasp. Well, I think that to Billy, Donkey Kong was the more important game to play. Mm-hmm. And even if PacMan was going to take a long time, then he wanted to do Donkey Kong. But he was kind of worried at one point about the arcade closing early. And we're like, no, we have the keys.
Right. I wouldn't worry about that, Billy.
Chris
we
does
are
anyway.
Insane.
So
I went and asked Jay, the
Retropalooza guy.
Yes, and if we could stay late, and I'm like, we're with Billy Mitchell, and we want to record PacMan. Is it okay if we stay late? He's like, oh yeah, please.
Right.
Like, great. That was so easy.
Right? I've been run off by the police in other conventions where we asked to stay late.
Yes!
I've been run off
Yes, that has
by
happened.
police in conventions where we were just finishing up the tournament. That was the reason we were there.
Well, yeah, there's plenty of conventions and just convention centers that when they sign an agreement with a place that says you'll close at this thing, they won't let anyone be in there after close. Like they kick all the vendors out. They bring in like armed guards, police dogs. I don't even. It's crazy.
All of those things, including the police dogs, I have experienced.
Oh yeah, I remember one time. Just a really quick side note: the very first Retropalooza we worked, we had left 8 games there late, and we came back, and the whole building was locked and closed. And I walked around the whole time until I found a door that opened. And there was a door that opened, and I rushed the people in the truck. I was like, "Come on, let's go get our games. Let's go get our games." We loaded out of the truck, and as we're driving out, like 6 cop cars pull up to our truck, and they say, "What are y'all doing?" And they're like, "Oh no, we just worked this event, guys. We're just getting our games." And they were like, okay. And they were like, "How'd you get in there?" And I was like, "That door wasn't locked. Bye." Like, go yell at someone else. Thank you. But I'll never forget that because even at the Arlington Convention Center, we just found an unlocked door, but the response to whatever we set off was pretty severe. All right, so y'all get to stay late. Y'all get to watch the
at 5:30. Everyone leaves. So at that point, it's just smooth sailing. It's him doing the same level for another 100 times.
No more autographs.
55 seconds a level, and it's great.
At that point, I'm 100% sure he could hear us because we just like stood up with our wired headsets.
Yeah,
and
y'all all
kinda
just hanging around
crowded
the cab, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Just like the olden days, except we had headsets on.
yeah, it was a lot of fun, and he was just playing with a small, close-knit crowd. We had one of the game chasers, not Jay, the other one.
I can't help you, buddy.
Wow, I am really looking like
If
a jerk
only I
now.
had a laptop in front of me, I might be able to help.
Hold on. I'll get it. You keep talking.
Okay, well we had
So the unimportant game
It's
chaser was
Billy
there.
and Jay.
we had Billy come up and join us for commentary for a little bit, and he just asked a few questions about Pac-Man. We were just a couple of minutes from the kill screen. We had to leave, and then the kill screen happened. It was magical, and that was the first time I've ever seen it in person, obviously, and it was great. I got to see Pac-Man being beaten.
Right.
Like there was nothing else you could do with it at that point. All the ghosts were locked up, all the dots were eaten. There was a cool hidden maze of weird things happening. I thought about it a little bit, and I came to a little bit more conclusion in my head on how this exactly worked.
Well, and it was really cool
And-
too to have Billy Mitchell sit there and explain all the nuances of the kill screen. So like there's no doubt he's been there before, right?
Oh, certainly.
There's where the invisible walls are, where the invisible dots are.
Right.
How to trap all the ghosts. Literally all of the ghosts
Yeah.
onto the right side of the screen.
The orange one is a problem because he will run away from Pac-Man at a certain point just to add chaos to the mix.
So yeah, really cool. Really awesome to see.
Yeah, I had a great time.
So then you have to close up and run to Free Play Arlington for the Retropalooza after party.
So yes, that was the problem.
Already in progress.
Yes.
Well, I started spamming y'all at that point. I was like, hey,
What time?
Where are y'all at?
What
What are we talking about? What are we doing? And everyone was like, we don't know.
It was like 7:30, and I'm like, I'm gonna get this up as fast as is humanly possible, and I did. I got my stream up as fast as humanly possible. We had Matt and the other Matt, both Matts, helping me take stuff down, put it in my car. I drove over real quick. I grabbed both the techs and like, hey, take this, put it here. Hey, take that, put it over there, whatever. Got everything set up as fast as possible, and then helped Billy out because I learned my lesson.
Well, that was actually, I sent you a message and I was like, all right, so where are we now? And you were like, we're all set up, but Billy's not here. And then 2 minutes later, you're like, going live now. And so I guess Billy walked in and it really happened fast.
No, Billy had been there, but he wanted to take a look at the whole arcade because he knew that.
Oh, okay.
Seeing free play on a Saturday night, it's busy. The music's going, the crowd's there, everyone's having a great time, and just wanted to take in the arcade for a minute. So I'm
Gotcha.
not gonna yell at him. No, you're gonna play Donkey Kong.
Time to go live.
Anyway, we were ready at that point. We did some pretty neat camera work, I thought, with our videographer Matt's help. And maybe he'd want to say a few words on that, or maybe not. I don't know. You interested? Go ahead. Do you want to?
Not right now, but
Okay.
we'll
That's a no, Arthur.
We will absolutely get that at a later date. But
Well, we're experimenting with live camera recordings in the stream, and it worked really well. And there's more stuff to be done to do more cool things later. But I'm excited for our future streaming. We get started. We get started at 9, I want to say.
it might have been a few minutes before that, but that's probably around
Just about.
where it was. And so let's go ahead and we can talk the
right
differences. Okay, go ahead.
And right before we get started, Billy Mitchell is playing a few, practice Donkey Kongs, and he says, "This is a good setup." And I'm like, "Thank you." And he's like, "Well, you don't understand. All of the setups that I play on in most places are maybe good enough, which is never good enough." And we had a nice discussion about how free play takes care of our machines, and he thought the PacMan was a good setup too. The monitors work well, the audio was clearly audible, the controls worked.
Well, I mean,
And
if you think about it,
I was really happy with that.
he's playing on old stuff, right? So, and certainly in towns that don't have free plays, it's a huge order if you were to just be like, here, we're going to have our retro game expo. It's hit or miss whether or not you're going to be able to find someone with a good Donkey Kong or a good Pac-Man or both. Like they obviously will exist in some form or fashion in the area, but will they be good? The odds are super, super slim.
Super slim.
And certainly not at the short notice that we because we did this in like a week and a half, from start to finish with it changing every day almost. And so you think about sometimes, like I think about the Man vs. Snake documentary where you see the guy in the middle of the night hacking together fake nibblers, like cabinets. They're just using like generic cabinets and he's trying to get it together. That's kind of like what it takes sometimes to make it happen. And neither one of those performed super well. Whereas here we had a little bit of a head start and we knew we were going to make sure our games were perfect, because we want all of our players to have perfect game and play experiences, much less Billy Mitchell coming to try to set some scores. So
Yeah, the Friday before this whole, the day before, Josh had come with us to Arlington and had done a bunch of servicing on the cabinet itself and had helped me plan out exactly how to put
camera
cameras
spots,
in.
yeah.
We ended up going with outside cameras, even though I had one mounted inside, but I couldn't get back to it. And some kid, I'm assuming, had bumped it throughout the course of the day, and it wasn't even pointed at the screen
It
anymore.
moved. So the stream came out. It looked good. Looked awesome. Artwork was top notch. Amazing. We all got to set up like your real commentary area. So it looked like
Ben Gold did spend about an hour and a half with us on the commentary before he left. He wanted to stay. He desperately wanted to stay. He did not know free play was a thing. He was regretting the fact that he had a business trip to California the
He
next day.
stayed longer than he said he absolutely had to leave by.
I was shocked to see him even on the Donkey Kong stream, and then the next thing I know, he's on there talking about how good our pizza is. Y'all are like, let's get some Billy Mitchell hot sauce on the pizza.
Well, we had about 5 to 7 hours of content to fill. So
right. So Billy shows up and he starts playing, and of course we should probably talk about a little bit. Pac-Man is a kind of solved game if you've solved it. Donkey Kong is not the same way of solved. Like, I mean, Donkey Kong, they feel like that the score is pretty much maxed, but there's a ton of RNG going into each run.
It may not be true RNG, but it's so much more complex than Pac-Man is.
Right.
Like you can map out your course on Pac-Man and know where to go, and honestly, you can learn how to do any pattern within a day.
Right.
Any of them. Donkey Kong, it's so nuanced that you will not know. Even a grandmaster like Billy Mitchell or Steve Wiebe and King of Kong or anybody trying it live and in person is bound to have some flubs because there's so much happening in Donkey Kong.
The best comparison I can make between the two games, the first time he got to the post ghost eating stages on Pac-Man and was using the pattern that he was going to use for most of the next 200 stages. Myself and Dylan and I don't remember who else go whoa when the ghosts were closing on a Pac-Man when he did one loop
you were
around.
just like, oh.
Well, the second time around we didn't do that, but for the duration of this Donkey Kong stream, we kept seeing stuff that we'd never seen and would just go nuts time after time. That how did that work? How did he not die? How did he get a jump over 4 barrels at once?
Right. No, there were all sorts of like pixel tight moments during Donkey Kong where what was really interesting is watching Billy Mitchell. He's clearly done some of this stuff before. Like he's not like, oh my god, he's just like, yep, that's how it goes, chill out.
Especially as he got more and more frustrated.
Right.
He became more I wouldn't want to say reckless, showy. Like he was jumping off the side of the screen.
Well, yeah, he was very showy for a long time, but then he also got like you could tell he's just like, I just want to kill screen this game. Mm-hmm. I'm going to start blazing through some of these levels. I just want to get through the levels. Mm-hmm. But even he's a constant showman, but he was taking some crazy risks, which like I was saying before we did this podcast, I actually thought that was more fun than a lot of the Donkey Kong runs I've watched because it was like, not only was there a lot more kind of freestyle to it, there were a lot more risks taken, right? Sure. And when it worked out, it was so much more exciting than some of the safe Donkey Kong plays that I've watched, where the guy methodically goes through and maximizes points and everything and does everything he can to make sure he's not losing lives where he shouldn't. I mean, Billy Mitchell's just like go 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 on certain. It was a lot more fun. It was a lot more kind of random to watch. Billy Mitchell plays forever. I mean, he's on that machine constantly from 9 until after 2 a.m.
Yeah, he played the first game he played was actually his best score for a long time, and it was only about 360,000. When I say only, that's good enough for the number 2 score in free play arcade history.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna,
and way better than I've ever done. Like at least triple my highest score ever on Donkey Kong.
I've gotten in the tens of thousands, but I've never hit 100.
Right. So
that game is hard.
I've just hit 100, and he's over 360,000, something like that, when he finally dies the first time. And of course, this is a huge disappointment for him. He didn't hit the kill screen. He didn't even break the arcade record. And he kept grinding through over and over and over again until he restarted.
After that first game where he got to level 10 or 12, I want to say,
something like that. Yeah.
After that, there was a long period where he couldn't get it going.
Yes.
And it reminded me very much of, I used to play rhythm games, and I would try to do like a full combo on a song. I'd miss a note and I'd start over. I'd miss a note and I'd start over. And his missing a note would be on stage 2, on stage 3, on stage 5, dying once. And
then you kill it all off,
right.
Start over again, and you kill it off, start over again.
So he's in a funk. It's not going well.
Meanwhile, we're doing every bit
to try to keep it entertaining.
Yeah,
right? It was entertaining though.
Right.
Is the thing. Like we didn't have to even try hard because this man's a showman. He's doing great things.
Instance to instance, he's got a lot of cool maneuvers and jumps, and especially when things get into a panic, he's got so much experience with the game that he can do things that you wouldn't really think about normally.
Well, yeah, I mean, watching him play Donkey Kong, like I'm not a great Donkey Kong player, but I've spent a lot of time with Donkey Kong, right? Like I've climbed near that 6-figure around there on my top ultra super games, and I haven't played it in years. But watching him play, like when I'm playing Donkey Kong, I'm terrified the whole time. I'm constantly just trying to survive and beat the level. I'm never doing any point maxing.
I'm just trying to get to the point where the springs are going to kill me.
Right, pretty much. And so watching him play, though, it was like he saw the game a little bit differently than me, which, of course, like I of course knew or assumed he was a really good Donkey Kong player. But, of course, in the back of my mind, once that MAME stuff happened, I was always kind of like, who knows how long this has been going on? Who knows how good he really is? But watching that was fun. It was fun to watch. It made me have a different. Now I want to go back and watch some of those Kong off videos and stuff. The competitive head-to-head Donkey Kong play and stuff. It makes me want to check some of that stuff out because there is more excitement there than I expected. There was more skill and more kind of nuance to each game than I expected. And it was just really funny watching him go through that stuff because it was beyond my play level.
A live performance is always more interesting.
Yeah.
It's why I'm not such a big fan of world records in general, is because, watching them do it live, watching someone set out a goal of, hey, I'm going to kill screen 2 games in one day, and then accomplish it or not is much more interesting to me than just, well, he did it. I know there's a perfect game out there, so I'm going to watch the perfect game. I'm not actually going to watch that perfect game.
Yeah, so that actually brings up probably a good time to go ahead and talk. So one of the interesting things that I saw come up as we started to, plan for Billy Mitchell, talk about Billy Mitchell, was the deep rooted in the hate was taking these scores really seriously. Like, people that really disliked Billy Mitchell, they were very serious about these high scores and the legitimacy and the importance of these all-time high scores. And I thought it was kind of interesting because we've always not really been super serious about high scores. Like, I think high scores are cool. I think it's a lot of fun.
It's a personal goal, but I don't like it beyond the personal goal.
And of course, I mean, I
I
made
like
a joke.
it when I have a friend that I'm competing
Exactly.
with.
Right,
A personal goal,
yeah.
yeah.
Something that's completely you or your friend, like in local kind of experience, not this high score list, because of course with things like video games, especially high score lists that doesn't require every single player to play on like the same machine and the same environment.
Rife for abuse.
it's
Has been
it's-
abused
well,
for years.
Yeah, and that was the other thing, guys. I mean, we know Twin Galaxies has banned Billy Mitchell, but we've talked a lot about how y'all remember when Twin Galaxies, had to delete thousands of scores.
Yeah.
and we've talked before that
wasn't that
all
long
of these
ago.
referee verified things are kind of junk, and ultimately the only solution we've come up with is to just not take these scores seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a high score list. I believe they're all legitimate scores, but I don't care.
Exactly.
If they're not, they're not.
I'll do as much diligence as I can as one person, and then that's just it.
We're not super serious. We don't care that much.
Right.
We love it when two people decide that they want a high score and they go at each other and in arcades and stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, and it's interesting when somebody comes to me and says, "I want to play Qbert from opening till close of free play. When are you open the longest so that I can do that?" And I will do that. Like that's a personal accomplishment, a personal goal that someone set, and they did, and we had that sign that says, "Please check Qbert for Troy before hitting the power."
Right.
For a year in the closet.
We love. I mean, we love setting up runs and stuff like that. That's a lot of fun, especially when people are going to do something.
Yeah, so
we
we're not
haven't
against
seen.
like people chasing high scores, but it's really more the individual accomplishment than it is a world record, because all this stuff is bunk anyway.
Right.
I go to Japan and there's nothing but nines across the machine, and then there's guys in their 80s just sitting there smoking away and hitting all these scores like it's routine, like it's nothing.
Right. Well, because they do that every day.
Literally every day.
So no. So yeah, that's probably the reason. Like, I wasn't like super furious about Billy Mitchell like wanting to play or come to free play, because people were like ban Billy Mitchell and stuff like that. I was just like, guys, I mean, a lot of our players spend time playing emulators and stuff. I don't.
I've played MAME before.
He didn't. He
I played MAME before. I've never submitted it as anything
he didn't do
that
anything
wasn't
to me.
MAME, but I've never.
If all of you who are watching, like, I honestly just, I don't really care about the high score stuff. I do think it's obvious that it was MAME and all of that stuff, and I wanted to make sure that that to the extent that that's relevant, that was known, and that. But we've always kind of used that as a platform for criticizing high scores in general. They're just not trustworthy. You can't really trust them. You can trust these scores if y'all care. They were on real hardware, but y'all shouldn't care that much.
Right.
Y'all should come play arcade games and have fun. That's really cool.
I hope it inspires a renewed interest in each of these games, and we see somebody, he left some meat on the bone on both of them,
and maybe some other games as well. Like
Yeah.
there's lots of games that you can get into and try to do a super run on, and that was what was exciting about this weekend. Was, hey, here's two of the more popular games. Watch these, and I had a great time.
Well, yeah.
and I've noticed that world records tend to fall in that fashion more organically than just sort of like, hey, someone go break the world record. Keith Carlson recently broke the world record on versus Castlevania.
He did.
I filmed him running through Castlevania versus Castlevania before, just because, I just wanted to see Dracula get beaten live before my eyes, and he got better and better, and he was like, it's within reach, and then he broke the world record. The same thing happened with Chris Paga and the Dragon's Lair. It just sort of like dropped while he was doing his bar trick of beating the dragon in Dragon's Lair, right?
Right.
So,
Well, yeah. And yeah, that's, so I get it. Some people think what Billy Mitchell did is unforgivable. I honestly have no care about whether or not he's being forgiven or not. I do think that what he's doing now, if he continues his kind of march, is what he should do if he wants to stay relevant and be recognized as a top tier gamer. He kill screened back. He's a great PacMan player. He played Donkey Kong, and let's just use that as a good excuse to hop back into his runs.
750,000 points on Donkey Kong. That is an absurdly high score.
So he goes through his troubles, and then he gets going again.
So after reset, he finally gets a good run again. and he plays and he plays, and we're having a great time watching him. He's being a showboating guy a little bit, and he's mostly not dying. And he eventually goes down on stage 15 out of 22.
And we lost Ben Gold early on in that run because he had to go catch a flight. What we gained was the arcade record holder, Bradley McCullum.
Oh, yeah.
Who was there to help us, commentate and also to explain to us some of the nuance of Donkey Kong while Billy's doing the run. And during that long period where Billy's just, trying and restarting, it looked like, maybe Bradley leaves this arcade as the arcade champion, which was the least likely outcome of all this. And sure enough, by close of Free Play Arlington at 2 a.m., Billy had started the run, but we had closed. If it were a normal night, that would have been it. But we were happy to watch him play and keep
certainly
going. So Palmer's there and Bradley's there and Dylan's there commentating and me and Arthur there. Arthur's trying to fall asleep, but I don't blame him. And we continued to grind away till 4:30 in the morning when he hit level 15.
And he gets
and by the way,
$750,000.
I don't blame someone for slipping up at 4:30 in the morning after having played continuously since 9 a.m.
I guess
sure.
the only thing that I kind of look back on and I think would have been cool is if we had scheduled this a long time ago, 6 months ago, as a 2-day thing, with PacMan being run on one day and Donkey Kong being run on the other, because obviously Billy Mitchell, after he'd been playing video games, talking to people about video games for like 15 or 16 hours, 17 hours, he's not going to be as good as he would have been, say, hour 3 or 4, kind of just kind of chilling. Still neat to have an arcade event like that happen in DFW at all.
Everybody that stuck around was quite impressed with how well he played.
Well, and
he got standing ovation at the end, obviously.
That's a great Donkey Kong score. And he just, at that point you have to go to bed. You can't start another run at 4:30. Although I bet in his mind he was like, how can I figure out how to do it?
He asked us to bring the machine up to Retropalooza, and I was like, well, that's 2 hours from now,
right.
And I'm an hour away from Richardson, and I don't even have any way to contact you guys before you wake up. So
right, moving cabs in the middle of the night. So
the early morning, actually,
right. We were not able to get that to him, but that would have actually been really cool if we could have planned it a little bit better. But
so we still have the machines.
And there's always next time.
Oh yeah, and Billy Mitchell is always free to come put up some scores.
You got my number.
Because that's the real thing. If you come to Free Play and put up a score, it's real. It's good.
Well, now we have this extra sort of resource we've found in town of Ben Gold lives in Dallas, Texas. Yeah. Ben Gold now understands that Free Play Arcade is indeed what we've always said it was, which is a real arcade using real hardware that really cares and has a bonkers scene on the weekends. He wants to come back and put some scores up for us.
So that's amazing. And Ben Gold was a lot of fun to have on the stream.
Oh, he was great
because not only does he have the history, he had all the history of Billy Mitchell, history with all the video games, the scene in general. Great game knowledge, obviously.
He's also a family man who's got out and grown up and he has good social skills. If he wants to run for a political office, he could try.
Yeah, really good on the stream. Really good. Really well versed. Actually in his speaking, it was awesome to watch. And we'll definitely be hitting him up for something at some point.
Yeah.
To do some sort of run. How was the scene though Saturday night? Was it pretty crazy? Was it busy?
Oh, it was busy. It was packed.
Yeah.
And did everyone generally seem to know kind of what was happening?
By the end,
all of them.
By when there were 7 people left in the arcade at 4 in the morning.
No, once we were going, we had every seat at the table was packed. You'll see in the video, about 10ish or whatever when the arcade was still bumping. You still had all eyes in the front room on Billy and people just hanging out watching, having a good time. And
as always, you had the whole Free Play Arcade scene where it's just
right. Well,
people are there for pinball, people are there for pop and bounce in the back, pop and music.
Pop and music.
Sorry, pop and bounce is Julie's game. But people were there for all the reasons that they're always at Free Play Arlington, and it's just a big, wild scene. And then you had all the tables filled with people watching Billy Mitchell play too. So great scene.
And of course, I as the the proprietor, I loved hearing all the talk about the free play food and stuff. I was like, this is great. And then all the talk about how great free play was, because that was what was cool. Bingo had never been there before. And you could tell he was just like, what?
Yeah.
Like this is a real thing?
I love giving people that experience with free play. I've had it a few, like, we had a radio meeting at one point, and we had one of the radio hosts come out, and it's like, yeah, this is real. No. What you're seeing here, and we'll have 70 people here tonight playing this one single game.
Right.
And yeah, that's all actually true. And if you don't believe it, I mean, feel free to stick around and see it. And it's always nice to show people that we're not just. Well, we are blathering idiots on YouTube. There is some truth behind this.
Right. So that was, I mean, mostly we didn't get to see them on Sunday. We had other events already on the books that were long scheduled. So
yeah, we had to do our NBA Jam League. We had the Kids Super Turbo Tournament, and we had to run for our allies from tornadoes that were tracking down the arcade.
We did have some tornadoes hit.
Right, all on the same day.
It was a crazy day.
That was pretty interesting. Yeah, tornado, like I don't even know. 1,000 feet from the arcade.
Yeah, it hit Target, so that's in the same parking lot as free play.
So that was cool. Interesting
I'm
stuff.
glad that it missed us.
Yeah. Well, it was.
That could have been a lot worse than that lightning bolt.
What was really crazy is we were open at the time, so I'm sitting there like texting the bartenders and the kitchen and being like, "Hey, how's it going?"
Yeah, I texted your dad.
Right. That was kind of our Sunday. We also had to send a pickup truck to pick up the PacMan because our logistics were a little bit spread out. So one of our employees had a pickup truck, and we were like, just grab the PacMan.
Don't worry, nothing could happen. Come back through the tornado.
Right. So that was we recovered our PacMan in the back of one of our employees' pickup trucks. A lot of fun. What's kind of interesting now though is I got to put PacMan on the floor somewhere. We've got a new arcade opening.
I was about to say maybe in Fort Worth.
Yeah, maybe so. We're gonna go ahead and bring it back because we've got a score to chase.
With the ability to beat it too. It's not a perfect game.
Right, not a perfect game. And we
close
have
though.
We have
Very
seen a kill screen, and I still don't have my 1,000,000 points on Donkey Kong that I've always wanted. Mm-hmm. But I think what a lot of people want us to say here or not to say. Billy Mitchell knows how to play these games.
Yes.
He's a good gamer.
I definitely think that was a main recording. At the same time, I think he's one of the best golden era video game players of all time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Maybe he should have had some better people advising him. Maybe he would have avoided that pitfall, the ease of using his reputation, connections, and everything to try to squeeze that video through the various videos. But clearly he's capable, and he has live streamed now 1,000,000+ point runs on Donkey Kong, stuff like that. That I assume he can actually do in real life because I watched him do that 750,000.
He looked capable to me.
If you get 750,000, 1,000,000's not far past that.
Well, right. You just have to keep. I mean, that's the thing. You just have to stay alive.
Right.
I think
mitigating circumstances, crazy night at the arcade that he wasn't prepared for. Also, had worked for a solid 12 hours on PacMan while signing autographs. I understand.
And beyond that, I would say that with his style of play, there's a little bit of monkeys on typewriters coming up with Shakespeare, where he's doing so many incredibly challenging, difficult moves, and if he can get them all, he's going to get a crazy score. And if he messes up, then he can go again.
He had to be dreaming in his head, what if this was the night where I put it all together and I put the greatest Donkey Kong run in history?
Well, and everyone would think that.
Right. Well, but
yeah, his listed goal for both of them was kill screen, and including PacMan. He wasn't necessarily going for the perfect game, but the first thing he did was try for the perfect game.
Right.
And once that was off the table, continue on to the kill screen. But he was really going for all of the marbles while he had a chance.
Right. I mean, he was. Well, yeah. There was times.
Kudos to him for when you press start, it means something.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was great, and obviously. It was an experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was part of an interesting weekend at Free Play. We had a big Halloween party on Friday night. Then we had Billy Mitchell on Saturday. Then y'all had a ton of other stuff going on Sunday. But it's something that we're always looking for to feature cool game runs and stuff. Because at Free Play, right, even if it's a controversial villain of arcade gaming, we always want it to be as much as possible about the games and the players. Mm-hmm. So if you're out there and you're like, I think I can do a big run on a free play machine, I'd like to reach out to Chris or Arthur.
Nice guys are welcome too.
Yeah. You don't have to be the most notorious arcade gamer of all time. You just be a great gamer who wants to come have fun, have a beer, have a pizza, and play some games.
If we're gonna have fun doing it, then we'll do it for the audience of 3. We don't care, and we'll put it on Enigma 2, and Twitch will be like, "What's Enigma 2? You're never getting partnered because of this," and we'll be like, "We don't care."
Well, that was kind of interesting, right? The YouTube stream, even on a Saturday night in the middle of Saturday, which is not necessarily a popular time, did pretty well.
Yeah. So we had, I think I saw about 160 live viewers on YouTube. Meanwhile, maybe 30, 40 on Twitch. After that, I did check Billy Mitchell's numbers, and he was 110-ish. So we were slightly better than the guy.
That's another reason why I wish
we'd all work together.
I wish we could have gotten on the same page and just rehosted our stream, which definitely looked and sounded better on his feed as well. Hosted on both. That way, they share the numbers and it has an opportunity to go viral. Because what that does is it splits the audience, and neither of them can go viral because they're split.
Beyond that, though, I think it's worth mentioning that I warned him about this. I'm really worried if maybe he'd lose the audio from this particular broadcast to his omnidirectional microphone. Definitely picking up the fat beats of DJ Terminator Mike D.
Yeah, he once again blame Beltran.
Always blame.
He might get a little takedown notice on some of those sweet tunes. But yeah, so that kind of wraps this up. That was our weekend with Billy.
What famous gamer are we going to play with this weekend?
We'll see. I heard there was the photo of you commentating. He's like, I'm just here for Chris Delper. Like, I'm a big fan of Chris Delper, and it had Billy Mitchell in the background.
So weird.
That was fun. Communities are weird. That's what makes them great. So I think it was interesting. It was also interesting to have the people who just came to see Billy Mitchell. Like, there were people that were just like, I couldn't believe it. I screamed like a little girl when I saw Billy Mitchell. I'm like, well, first you need to change your priorities.
Palmer always screams like a little girl. So
Palmer's great, 100% of the time.
And so,
115% of the time, sir.
That was so. Yes. Really quick, y'all had his hot sauce. I've now actually had some Ricky's hot sauce. Did y'all not?
Yeah. I had a cheese pizza.
I thought I saw y'all sprinkle it on some cheese pizza.
So Dylan got the pizza. He sprinkled some of his hot sauce on. I grabbed that whole bottle and was just like poured as much as I could on there. And it's good.
My ill-gotten, accidentally stolen bottle of hot sauce I was going to use on some tacos, and then didn't order tacos before the kitchen closed, and then lost the bottle. So,
wow, that about explains the tornado of Billy Mitchell coming through.
and then the next trick I had as I was falling asleep was to get a tall boy Mr. Brown, aka as many Mr. Browns as LMA can stuff into a pint glass.
Nice.
And then start pouring the Ricky's hot sauce into the Mr. Brown, creating a Mr. Ricky Brown's.
Nice.
And
stay awake forever.
It was quite spicy, and it kept me powering through till 4:30 a.m. So.
No, and if Billy Mitchell, if you're watching this, dude, I want gallon bottles of your wing sauce. I want to do a special Billy Mitchell pizza. Because I know his wing sauce is good. I've had Ricky's famous wings in Florida before. And I assume it's the same wing sauce that he sells.
Yeah, it is.
And so I want to be able to buy that wing sauce by the gallon. I don't really know what's going on with his distribution right now.
I asked him very little about that, and he said that he can't bring more than about what he brought with him there because he can't ship it.
Yeah,
well, if we can work that out, I know somebody who can pay for it, and then we can put it on the pizza here at Free Play. So.
I assume there's a...
Evelyn's got my number. Message me.
I assume there's lots of distributors in Florida that might be able to carry it. But it was in Sam's for a little bit. Even if it's back at Sam's, I don't know. I'd like to get my hands on some because I think it would actually be a good, legitimately good option for our buffalo chicken pizza.
I think not only would it taste good on there,
there's some marketing,
what I've heard and not tasted, but that'd be an interesting combination.
Right. All right, so that's it. That was our weekend with Billy. We're wrapping up. Thanks, of course, to Retropalooza for really making it all possible. That was, we of course did everything we could to step up and make sure it was successful for them, but they've been great friends of Free Play.
Jay did a great job of helping us with all the little things that came up during the weekend where dietary concerns on the mind. Nice. As you have somebody doing a run who needs to definitely not leave the machine at any point.
Right. Yeah, that's something to think about.
Having the concession stand food was not really practical for that. So
Beyond that, I'd like to thank Jay for allowing us to stay late after Retropalooza closed. That really made the whole PacMan thing possible, and it wouldn't have been otherwise because, man, there's a lot of autographs to be signed when you're Billy Mitchell at a retro game show.
Well, and that's a really
and Billy
cool
at Game Chasers will try and remember your name next time.
I will. I feel bad.
Retropalooza happens every year, generally at the Arlington Convention Center. It's one of the best places if you're searching for just a huge show of a lot of crazy, awesome, rare stuff. The vendors there generally save stuff just to bring to Retropalooza. It's really fun. And then the after party hopefully will be at Free Play again. We'll see. But it's always really neat to see all those gamers come to like a little bit of a mecca, right? 140 plus real arcade games. Games that they definitely have never seen before if they haven't been to Free Play because it's only available at Free Play. That's how cool it is, and it's like it's our crowd coming home to have a beer.
Yeah, as always, feel free to test out the claims. Come out to Free Play and see for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
the proof is in the pudding, and we as Nate always tells me, my Kool-Aid is good.
Right, and now
Excellent.
I gotta go clean a not MAME sticker off my Donkey Kong machine.
I was wondering about that.
By Billy Mitchell himself.
Vandalized by Billy Mitchell. But until next time, guys, this is the Free Play Arcade Podcast. Click subscribe if you'd like some more, and we are off.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for watching.